I spent over 400 hours aim training, but only recently have I gotten big improvements. I got top 1000 in Aim Labs Season 4. I usually hover around top 2 to 10% on most scenarios, and I'm currently grinding for Voltaic Masters Complete. I might not be an aim god, there's a big difference between me and the best players, but I want you to learn from my mistakes and teach you what works for me and how I finally started to improve. One of the biggest mistakes I did was chasing high scores and overly obsessing over benchmarks. I didn't even try to get better. I just wanna grind the benchmarks, keep doing them, and make the rank go up, make the number go up, and that kinda, I attached my worth as a human towards that rank. And it kinda destroyed me. Sometimes I felt really bad when I was stuck on a scenario, and I was just smashing my head against a brick wall, and I just couldn't get past it. But when I was doing good, I didn't even feel that good. I was like, okay, cool. But when I was doing bad, I was like really sad. Another thing about Highscores is that I was looking at other people, how good they were doing, and comparing myself to them, which it's not inherently bad. Like, if you look at their gameplay, you can find out what you could do better or what you are doing wrong. But if you're not taking something away from that, then you shouldn't look at others. You should just focus on yourself. Don't even think about high scores. Just look at your overall average stats and how your average improves over time. So don't obsess over these benchmarks. They are not everything. They're not a true assessment of your skill. They're just something fun to do and something you can track your progress with. I mean, it's fun to get high scores. I think it's sometimes beneficial. When you get a high score, you feel good. You're more motivated to push further. But when you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not working, and you're even getting worse at some point, then there's no point. You just have to move on and try to get better. Work on your weaknesses and actually get good. And that's what kind of helped me out of this dark hole. I started to analyze every part of my aim. I started to focus on small things. And by working on my weaknesses, I kind of got out of this autopilot mode that I was always on. Because I just didn't know what to do. I just played mindlessly. For example, when I got my glass pad, I noticed my micro corrections and overall flicking was really bad. And I would focus on these things. I first focused on my over flicking and then micro corrections. And slowly but surely, I started to getting better. My technique became really good, and without focusing on the benchmarks, I just started to get higher and higher scores without really thinking about it. And it kinda got me off this autopilot mode. And since I'm off the autopilot, I know what to work on. I know exactly what to work on. Now my routine is basically 90% one thing, and the rest is just like some filler stuff that improves like overall aim. Just by focusing on these small things, I got massive improvements. Another big mistake I did was being inconsistent. I was playing on and off. Sometimes I had super long sessions, like 3 to 4 hours, maybe even longer. And sometimes I wouldn't play for weeks, maybe even months. I was hoping maybe if I just put enough time in one day that I suddenly just go crazy and hit a crazy score. But true progress comes from playing every day, just grinding and doing small improvements day by day. It isn't about playing 8 hours in one day and then don't play for a week. It's about playing 30 minutes every day, maybe even 15 or 5. But just by playing every day, you just get better, better, and better. And I also switched focus. I realized that I don't want to aim train just to aim train. I don't want to be, I want to be good in game. I'm currently grinding for Faceit level 10 in Counter-Strike, and I'm specifically targeting parts of my aim that will actually improve my in-game aim. That's what I care about. Now if you care about only aim training and getting good benchmarks and whatever, then that's completely fine. But I just found a goal that helped me push forward. And now I don't waste time on useless routines or scenarios. I just focus on what will be beneficial to me right now and how I can improve myself day by day, and not only feel it by looking at the scores, but also feel it in the game. And now, the biggest progress I've ever felt was probably in the last month or two. I went from having, in my opinion, mediocre aim to having good aim. Or at least, I was moving in a good direction. Also, one thing that I did was trying new things. Just switching stuff up. Going higher sense, going lower sense. Just to work on other muscles in the arm. As with lower sense, you have to use your arm more. Higher sense, more like more wrist aim or fingertips. I also tried multiple different routines and scenarios, and like saw what worked for me. And kinda not always doing the same things. And just switching stuff up to keep it fresh, to keep it fun. Now, all this time I spent in aim trainers, they were not completely wasted. Especially since when you begin aim training, when you're new to this, you don't have to think that much about what's the best routine, what's the best scenario. Just find something and use it, since when you're new, your aim is overall bad. So you almost can't go wrong. You just have to aim train and just get better overall in your aim. So even though I spent a lot of hours on aim training and I wasted a lot of time by being inefficient, at the same time, by being inefficient, I was efficient at the same time. So to summarize, don't obsess over scores or benchmarks or Highscores or other people. Focus on yourself. Be consistent, just play a bit every day and find out what your goal is with aim training. Do you want to get good in game? Do you want to be a good aimer and just grind leaderboards and benchmarks? Just find out what you want to do and why you're doing this. Also, try out new things. Try out different sensitivities. Try out different scenarios, mouse pads, whatever. Just to switch things up. And most importantly, remember to just stick to it. Don't feel bad about being stuck. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.